We have a really unique moment here with Carolyn Gilmore. She's Executive Director of ChoiceOne, and we've been supporting ChoiceOne for quite a while now. And Carolyn, tell us a little bit about how you got started with CLC and ChoiceOne. That was a really cool story. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Pastor Costin has been on the board, was on the board for ChoiceOne for quite some time. He was my friend, but most importantly, Pastor Costin was one of the few pastors in Bucks County, in New Jersey, that actually met with me on a regular basis, so that he would pray with me and see where my heart was and pray for the girls. He became my pastor within a pastor, you know what I'm saying? He was on my board, but yet he spent that time with me on a pretty regular basis to make sure that my heart was okay, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and so ChoiceOne was really kind of your idea. It was something that was in your heart to start, or what got you going in this direction for your life?
No, so ChoiceOne is older than I am. I actually just celebrated my 30th anniversary at ChoiceOne. So it's 30 years, but ChoiceOne's been around 37 years.
Okay.
So I came from Long Island, New York, came here, and a girlfriend introduced me to ChoiceOne, and they were looking for a client services director at the time.
All right.
And I said, well, I'm not really pro-life. Just think about how long ago that is, 30 years. I said, right. As a believer, I wouldn't have an abortion, but we'd had no sonogram. So I said, I'm not really pro-life, but I can be a missionary if you want me to be. So they called my pastor, who was a missionary in Italy. And he said, well, if you want a missionary, that's your girl. And I said, well, I don't work nights. I have to be home with my husband. Well, now, 30 years later, I'm more pro-life than anybody else I know. I work nights, I work days. Whenever my husband's home, I'm always getting out to the office. Now I even commute back to Pennsylvania, because as you know, I live in North Carolina now. So I commute back. So God has given me a rich, rich blessing to be a part of ChoiceOne for 30 years.
And you had your son. Tell us about your son real quick. I thought that's just a cute little note about Christian Life Center.
Yeah, my boy went to preschool there, so that was just awesome years ago. And now he's doctor of infectious disease and pulmonary critical care in North Carolina.
Yeah, so he's really in the know about our COVID-19 situation and keeping you appraised a little bit about what's going on.
I'll tell you something really fun.
Yeah.
So in January, that boy called me and said, Mom, I'd like you to get some masks for the house in January. I said, what's going on? He said, nothing, just want you to have some masks in the house. I'm not gonna, don't worry. So I went and got masks, and so I bought masks for ChoiceOne.
How about that?
He called me and said, 3 weeks later, he said, Mom, I'd like you to bring some food in. Extra toilet paper, paper towels. I said, you're gonna tell me? He's like, well, I don't wanna get you upset, but just do that for me, okay? So I got extra in for ChoiceOne. So then I started to run campaigns at the center for extra diapers, because if my boy was telling me I needed extra things, I knew my clients at ChoiceOne, they never have extra. They have only enough for the week.
Yes.
So then my boy called me and he told me what was happening. So I started to put some of our programs non-contact. So by the time Pennsylvania closed down, we had a distribution that was non-contact for all of our clients: diapers, formula, food, everything non-contact in a drive-by.
Wow.
And I had already established all of our counseling online, virtual. It was all ready. So the day Pennsylvania closed, by God's awesome divine intervention, ChoiceOne, we didn't miss a beat.
That is thrilling. So tell our audience today what ChoiceOne what is the real driver behind it? And then also tell us about what this last year, we have COVID, of course, but since you didn't miss a beat, tell us a little bit about, the success and the vision of ChoiceOne right here, right now, today. What's going on there?
Well, here's the extraordinary thing that I want everyone at Christian Life Center to know is that from day one until now, 30 plus years later, 35 years later, ChoiceOne was designed for one thing, and that was to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I can end our conversation and be happy with that. We only chose crisis intervention as a vehicle to show Christ's love. It wasn't we had a political stand, we wanted to change people's minds. It was, no, there's a God who loves you, and you make choices outside of that love. So we want to introduce you to that love so that your choices are defined by that love instead of a world that dismisses you, a world that says you can't, that you shouldn't. And in our context, it is to have a baby outside of wedlock. So we wanted to make sure that a woman, if she chose life, that we would be pro-life in and outside of the womb, that we were going to stand with her. So today we do that. So our services have blown up from just a counseling center of, oh my gosh, I think I'm pregnant moment, to parenting classes that are accepted by the state. So when a mom loses her children, if she comes to our class, she can get her children back. To STI screening, another doorway to our young and our single women that find that they have a sexually transmitted infection. They're meted by a believing nurse who gets to share the gospel in that component of care. So then we have our clothing and equipment, all the ways. A girl that comes to our center when she has a baby, we throw her a baby shower. We make sure she has her car seat, her crib, all of that, her formula, diapers. That is used for a weekly check-in and sharing of the gospel. She comes in every week, and these are girls that are unchurched, or they're churched and they're lapsed. Mm-hmm. So they see Christ's love in action. So right now with COVID, counseling, you can't do face-to-face. You can't have that as a hug. So we did online counseling. However, our girls now have children at home and they can't talk to us at 3:00 in the afternoon. So we have what's called bedtime counseling. So our counselors they have a new shift, which starts at 7 p.m. after the kids are asleep, and we go to midnight. So a lot of our girls, there's some family violence. So they'll call us in their closet after they've been beat up. They'll talk to their counselor, and we can help them find a way out, or we help them get through the next day. So I'm calling it a girl-demic. I was saying to you just a minute ago that COVID has been very, very harsh on our clients. They are young moms. Most of them had 2 jobs that they lost. They were a waitress, and they ran it, and then they worked in a child care center. They were juggling things as it was, and now they're a teacher, and both jobs are gone. So we knew we needed to make sure we had that formula, that baby food on a weekly basis, because they don't have extra. So that's what we moved into. Now we also have a different program too called CO2, which is Counseling 2. It's ChoiceOne 2. That program is for women from the church, women from ChoiceOne, but it's a broader scope of women's counseling. So we have professional counselors that are on a sliding fee scale. So even for the women at Christian Life Center now that are feeling a little depressed, overwhelmed, they can come to CO2, because we believe that talking about your mental health, acting upon it, prayerfully considering it, being with a great woman that is a Christian as well to support you is what God would have us to do. That's why we do a sliding fee scale. So it can go from free up to we do it at a fraction of a cost. The only reason we put cost onto it is because we have to pay for the rent of the building and the insurance. But other than that, that's CO2. Boy,
so you got a lot of avenues to help women of all ages now, not just moms, anybody who needs some support, that's available. Now, you said you had 3 locations. Tell us where those locations are, and do they all the offices do the same thing?
All the offices do the same thing. We have one in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. And the reason we're there is because that is an open state for abortion. They have a non-restrictive abortion policy. So a woman can have an abortion up until her due date. Okay. Then we have Pennsylvania, in Bucks County in Levittown. So that's only an 8-minute drive from New Jersey, but that's because of the laws. Some girls jump the river to go into New Jersey to have their abortions. And then we have one with Wrightstown Family Medicine is our host in Wrightstown, and we're upstairs in their building. So we walk, Dr. Caracappa and Dr. Ellen Kim are the doctors at Wrightstown, and they're the covering doctors for ChoiceOne. So they do all of our STI screening, all of our STI treatment, all free of charge. And we have a lot of patients that they refer to us for their mental health needs.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So tell me, if someone from our church would like to volunteer and to help support ChoiceOne, if, obviously financially, you can always, there's always more ways to contribute there. And we're going to put your website and make that information available to everyone watching. But Carolyn, are there volunteers? Are there things that someone from the church could do to support you outside of finances and get involved in supporting other young women?
I'll be very honest with you. Here's the thing. What we can do for your church family is give you a vehicle to share the gospel. That's our calling. That's what we're created to do. There's no other reason we breathe except to show people our King, right? To show him our glory. So yes, you can volunteer at ChoiceOne. If you want to just fold baby clothes and pack them up for a girl, that's awesome. If you want to just do office work, we always need help doing data entry, all of that. If you like to do events, we always need someone that's creative to help us to put on events. If you like to speak in public and you want to reach the next generation, we have an education team that's called Let's Talk About It. And so that's a team that goes into all the area high schools and youth groups. We just did a virtual online presentation that's called Let's Talk About COVID-19. And it's a great program that's designed to help kids get out of the bad habits of pornography that they've learned on social media during COVID-19. So you can be a part of that, or you can train to be a counselor, which is just someone, a peer counselor, someone that we train that just has the tools to be able to meet a girl where she is. So yeah, there's lots of ways to help, including cutting the grass.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You've given us so much to think about, and I think I really appreciate all the love and the Christ-centeredness that you put the value in of changing a life. The only thing that really changes a person is the Word and the love of Jesus. It's really the only thing that makes the long haul distance for a woman.
And let me be honest, I can't change a girl's mind about terminating or not.
Right.
It's when she has a hole in her heart that Jesus meets that hole. And it's well with my soul. I want her to meet him and then she can go forward. If she terminates her pregnancy, which I hope she doesn't, at ChoiceOne we have a post-abortion Bible recovery. It's not a support group. It's a program that says to a young woman, there's nothing God doesn't forgive. And if you have to go this far down to look up, I'm standing with you.
Wow.
It's
beautiful.
I love what we do. I just love
passion.
Yeah, I just love the way we love women in a fullness. It's really critically important to me.
Yes. Well, CLC, you've just experienced a real vision and a passion for young women, our culture today. There's just so many issues these young women of all ages are facing, and there's a resource right here in our community that you can reach out to and be part of. Go Moments are all about living the mission, finding that purpose and that call of God on your life to make a difference in the life of someone else by representing Jesus Christ, being those hands and feet. So please, if you feel like getting connected and looking for that, been waiting for God to speak to you about something to do, here's a great place to get involved and get connected. Carolyn, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.